Don't worry. I've brought my own rope, so you won't be doing all the heavy lifting.
Climb.
So my interpretation was that she had lost someone because, at least in the end, the hands were clearly someone else's, and it was so introspective. The camera was also focused so much on her that she was introspective, so she was thinking about something else, something out of there. So I really thought it was someone that she loved, probably, because it was black, so it must be a husband or something like that, not from the family. And yeah, I thought that's what happened. And the guy, I don't know exactly what kind of relationship, maybe it was just some hiking climber helper. That was it.
She was wearing a wedding band, so I'm gonna say it was her husband.
Well, because she was so silent and because he kept on talking about climbing and what it did and what it was all about, it almost felt to me like whoever passed away climbing, and that harness was their harness when they said it's a good harness, and then her reaction. And I don't know if it was real. It was almost like in her mind she was going through a climb she lost someone during a climb. And I thought really what was poignant was after the hands touched her waist and held her, she looked up to the sky like, this is okay, I'm going to be all right. So I thought she very well acted at that point, because you could see a change in her when the hands touched her when she was going for the climb.
She doesn't have a lot of lines. A lot is conveyed through that actress's face.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's on account of the fact that I keep losing them in the mountains. But I gave you my best rope. I won't be losing that.
I think she lost her husband because of the wedding band. She references a child who doesn't know what's going on, so they clearly have a small child. And I think she's afraid of heights, and I think she's going to scatter his ashes. That's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
And I think those hands around her is her moment of like, he's got me, I'm gonna be okay.
So I think I agree to some extent up until the part where you talk about scattering ashes. I think what's interesting is that we didn't see the climb. So for me, it had almost nothing to do with the climb, and that the climb was more symbolic as a metaphor for what she's dealing with, right? So if you think of the climb as a process of going from a low point to a high point, right? And so she almost has to struggle to get from a low point to a high point. And I think of the three, I think the acting in that one was superb. Because as you mentioned, the dialogue from her was brilliant. It was simply in her face. So I think as much as the climb is, and it made sense at the end when they didn't show the climb, because that's irrelevant, right? It's more of a metaphor of what she's dealing with.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. The only way out is through. And the first step up the mountain's gotta be the hardest part.
Well, I took it even further. I thought that the climb was at that point because perhaps she lost her husband there, because she'd never climbed outside before. She didn't seem to have much experience climbing. The person who was looking after her child didn't really understand why she had to do that, and she sort of had to go there to either say goodbye or just to see the spot. She was looking around, the hawk came. That was sort of like her moment of maybe saying goodbye or closure. So she was wearing his harness. He was obviously a climber, so maybe it's darker to think that he died there, but that's sort of how I took it.
She does reference that he had never taken her, he should only ever climbed with him in horse.
They left a lot ambiguous, and I thought that was actually fine, because it's possible that it was her husband that she had just lost, but it could be that he has abandoned her. It could be that the black person was her husband or her lover. We don't actually know. And I also really like that it ended just before she's about to climb, when you feel like she's ready to move on, but you don't know how it's going to come out. But really, when I thought about the film, like seeing the actual climbing, maybe not that interesting. It would become a different type of story of like, oh, something has to happen on it, but we don't know how it's going to come out, but she's ready to move on, whatever terrible thing has happened.
I really liked this film. I thought it was almost poetic. It had beautiful visuals. The sound was just perfect. And for me, I don't really have to think so much about the actual person's life as much as just knowing that it's a kind of a spiritual journey metaphor. And for me, it was perfect.
A good film should be a visual, emotional poem. I know I saw The Hawk and I thought that's got to be the symbology for the spirit. Look, I've climbed farther than I ever could as a human, right? I am limitless now.